Hello, I'm Elisa Zhang, and I am a life coach as well as a physician. And today I'd like to talk about some causes of burnout. So, burnout has become a real issue in healthcare, not just for physicians, but pretty much everyone in healthcare. But really, I'm just going to focus on physicians today. So, universal causes of burnout kind of are true for most, if not all, physicians. And one of them is just choosing to go into medicine. So, we go into medicine to ultimately to help people, right? And so we put ourselves at high risk because in the act of helping and healing people, we can often overextend ourselves into burnout. We put someone else before ourselves in trying to help them, and that alone can be a cause of burnout. We're taught the practice of medicine and in medical school and in residency. And in residency, we're kind of a little bit in a bubble, or at least I was, in an academic practice where really the focus is on learning and learning good medicine and treating patients. And at least in my residency, there wasn't a lot of focus on billing or, the kind of money corporate side of medicine. But then, when we get out in the real world, if we're in private practice, you do have to bring in income in order to support the practice. And billing does become an issue, prior authorizations, all this, things so that you can actually help the patients. Or you may work for a hospital and, depending on the hospital position, may really get a lot more kind of push on getting your collections up or RVUs or, however the metrics are in order for you to get your production bonuses. And so, we're kind of trying to put a, square peg in a round hole when you take doctors in training and then go into the corporate world. Bad leadership can definitely be a cause of burnout. A bad leader will drive you out of your job to burnout. And life stresses, things going on at home. And when you can't recharge at home, you'll burn out more at work. And then I think most of us doctors all share kind of common character traits, and that we're kind of type A workaholics, really want to be that person to help. There's a perfectionist nature in many of us. And so those character traits often also push us to burnout. Right. In medicine, there's really a low tolerance for failure. There's a low tolerance for getting things wrong. And so we really don't give ourselves a break. Then there can be, other causes that don't necessarily affect physicians as a whole, but, they can also be that the last straw that kind of breaks the camel's back, right? So if you've got money issues, as physicians, a lot of us do have large loans from medical school or undergrad, but some physicians don't. And, depending on your specialty, what you went into, your loan forgiveness status, money really can be an issue for physicians. Your own personal health, or the health of your spouse or kids. I mean, if you have a diagnosis or your spouse gets diagnosed with something that, is chronic and can, have a lot of issues, or, one of your children, I mean, that can really put a lot of additional stress. Then we also have the risk of malpractice, and we've all heard of practicing defensive medicine, and that risk is somewhat real. I mean, I've had to give a deposition early in my career, and while I wasn't the one being sued, just going from the attorney and how they pick every single line of the one note of the one time I saw this patient, it really changes, your, or at least it changed my thoughts on, what really needs to go in my note, what shouldn't go in my note, and, those kind of things definitely affect all of us. And then, people who've faced biases, there's still a huge bias against women being doctors. I mean, how many of us women have, been thought that, been treated like we were the nurse, or the patient didn't think they saw a doctor, even though they saw us because they thought we were just a nurse. There's still a large pay gap between male and female physicians, where female physicians are still on average making somewhere around 80 cents on the dollar to their male counterparts. So that kind of discrimination in the workplace can also be an issue. Also, there's still racial discrimination as well. And all these things can really just contribute to burnout. So how can you tell if you're burned out? There are questionnaires that you can find. There's Mashlow's Burnout Inventory, which has 22 questions, and it covers 3 areas: emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and low sense of personal accomplishment. There's also another survey, which actually only has 6 questions that you can look for online that can give you a sense of how burned out you are. But how can we combat burnout? Well, one thing is to kind of build a more ideal practice and really think about, what would make our workplace a better place, and try to move from where we currently are to that more ideal practice. Figuring out ways that we can get home sooner and develop more work-life balance. Also learning how to be a better leader so that we can actually load off some of our work and delegate some responsibilities to other people, so we're not taking it all on ourselves. And also kind of managing the boss can also be helpful. So you really want your boss to be someone that you're friendly with, so that anytime your boss kind of reaches out to you, it's not a uh-oh, why am I in trouble type of situation. Things like that can all help with burnout. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much.